Leisure. So hello, what's up nerds and skaters? My name is Swerdavarus and as always I'm here to talk about the EU4 podcast and the MJL game. Bit of sound. Yeah, as you can see we're in the year 1676. We are kinda late in the game. But well, I guess it's time to start and talk about how the game is going. If you can see disgusting colonial nations here, like what the fuck fires Florida attack. Canada, Cuba, Brazil, Venezuela, Peru, Plata, very cool. And Alaska. Then you have a lot of different nations here. Spain expanded into Great Britain with an utterly disgusting overview. I will talk about some parts of the game that are a bit odd in my honest opinion, but now I will start with Malaya, played by our friend Geyser. As you can see, they are kind of big. They're owning all of the Japanese islands. They're owning part of the Chinese mainland and all of the island area in Indonesia and the Philippines. I think you're doing okay-ish when it comes to Malacca cash. If you take a look here, you can still see that you can build plenty of good manufactories that I would build ASAP. It's not like you're lacking a lot of money. You're rooting out corruption right now due to overextension. Your income is at 562. Considering you're not yet finished with trade ideas, that's alright. Once you finish trade ideas, you will be way stronger. Colonial ideas are also kind of decentish. They're not great, they're not bad. They're having 10% death cost and 10% morale of armies. So, how should I say? They are alright. Your army is kind of big. You are currently fielding 700,000 troops. 3.88 million troops. That's very cool. You have some buffer states in form of Pegu. Nepal is also in Ayutthaya. How should I say? I think your nation is in a decentish spot. Is already able to dominate a lot of the world, but the problem is that your ideas are simply lacking in military department. Later on in the game, you went with quality, quantity, defensive. Like your morale is really good, like you're at 6.7, but overall I think you would just drop dead if anyone manages to actually beat your navy, which is well, not that likely, but can always happen. Otherwise, if we take a look at the dev situation, it's mostly orange, so it's alright. If we take a look at manpower, most of the world is in a good shape, as expected, TBH. Outside of parts of the map, looks like this part here. It's not that well, but well, it is what it is. Also, some parts of China, sadly not that well deved, but well, happens to each and everyone. As I'm a dumb fuck, I haven't linked the podcast in MJL, so no one will watch it. Like, anyways, so let's post it. LMAO. Zebu actually doing a podcast. LMAO. Zebu actually Grand Wholesome. So that's pretty much it for Malaya, I would say. The building situation, it's one thing I have to talk about. Still tons of stuff left to be built. I think this nation is actually a bit behind considering the point it is in right now and the cash it should make. Looks a bit disappointing to me. I think it's still really strong, don't get me wrong. It's certainly one of the stronger nations in the game, but I don't really think that it's that strong. So the next nation I'm taking a look at is Nepal. Nepal currently having around 1 million manpower. is Telugu. So it has the Niger and Kara system and power the polygars and the permanent Marathas Council. The permanent Marathas Council is nerfed, I think, in the mod. It's still absurdly broken. I think you can also invest in like increased levies and stuff, and like sell a bit of crown land to bolster up the cash reserves. Like you're making more cash than such a nice world to see here perhaps. Like you're making more cash than Malaya. That should never ever happen. Like your nation is not in a spot where it should make that much cash compared to like Malacca. You finished trade ideas though, and you're going for religious ideas, which is like alright, even though at this point I think the situation is like always really odd. For more, if we take a look at it, you can see that the manpower is going pretty well. You'd have quite a lot to the exact numbers you should do. Yeah, there are some areas which are not deft 10 and stuff, but like, let's be honest, not everything has to be deft perfectly. We're here to play U4 and not to play a spreadsheet simulator. If you want to play a spreadsheet simulator, you would play other games. And when I take a look at the overall situation of Nepal, if you're playing Nepal, you are usually sporting the best ideas by far in the area. If I take a look at your area, I can easily see that no one has better ideas than you. Even like, how should they have better ideas? Let's be real. You're a bit late to Telugu, Nepal, but that's not a bigger problem. And the manpower is low for the time it is, but it's not that you would be completely irrelevant. And you do not really have that much hostile area left. Like, there's some stuff I really bamboozled at, that why you're not building good manufactories. Like, you can still build some parts here, some parts here and there, but overall the country is looking good. The problem is the diplomatic situation is, in my honest opinion, just not correct. At this point, I actually don't really know why Punjab is still alive and no one has even attacked it. In my honest opinion, that's just not correct, and it should have been killed or partitioned long ago. Like, Mawar is literally living in a state of irrelevancy with its current size, and I don't really know why it's not killed yet. Like, the polyaders are good, Barada formation is out of the window, I guess, so it's probably the best you can currently do. But I have to say that while a nation is strong, and it's probably one of the strongest in the battlefield, I actually think, considering the circumstances this entire subcontinent had, I think it's actually not that strong. Because it could have expanded way more. It could have killed more people. Like, for example, we could have def them for 6. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Just def, and you're Gucci. Like, at least dev it to 10 so you can build, like, good buildings. Like, it's a good return. You're counter-espionage in Punjab as well. Like, why are you even allied to Punjab if you're counter-espionaging him? Just crush him. Like, what the hell is he going to do? He has like 10% morale of armies and 5% discipline and 20% manpower. He's inferior to your ideas. And all of you guys are so into like fair wars when I see what happened to Persia that I'm like, why the fuck are you even like not killing each other at this point? Like, it's not even good for you to still be alive. Like, the node splits are mostly like Bengal Coromandel, and Like, why the hell is Punjab still alive? I don't get it. Like, I really, really don't get it. For placement, like, you could have some forts here in that area. I guess a fort in that area here would be excellent. So Punjab is way stronger manpower and depth. Like, the player depth way better than all of the other Indians early on, and had a way stronger nation early on. I think Punjab is not a garbage tech, don't get me wrong, but Punjab is a tech that is focused on making cash. Like, the player is making mad amount of cash. Like, at this point he's having a costly trade embargo and he's simply not giving a fuck anymore. Like, he has plenty of land in the north, which can still be improved with soldier households and other things. Building stuff is mostly done. Like, he's already here in goddamn Asia. I have a feeling that I know what he's going to do. Well, we will see. He converted to Marathi, which is alright because you get the permanent Marathas councils, but I actually think it's worse than going for Telugu or Kannada. But each to own. I think in the long term you should always go for it. You're not using one merchant. You're doing mad amounts of cash, you have good absolutism, your army is horrible small, and if Nepal would actually realize how much stronger he is on the battlefield, he could probably crush you once you finish religious ideas. I don't really get why you're still alive. Your fort placement is okay-ish. Could use some improvement, but besides your massive income, I would say you need to invest into more army professionalism ASAP, build up more troops, get the manpower up, and then try to kill Mewar or Nepal. I just think that you're living on their mercy, and I think that's not a good idea long term. And I hope you actually change something. Like, it's still the strongest nation here, but not for long. Like, Nepal should crush you in the soonish future. So, Mewar, like, I'm really surprised that Mewar is actually alive. Like, this nation is way too small to be relevant enough in the world. Diplo is like well played, it's well deft, as you can see, plenty of stuff was well done. But I think the lack of expansion overall was hurting. Like, if I were you, I would try to ally with Nepal and crush Punjab. Like, that's the way to go for you right now. Like, you cannot really do much. Like, Persia is going to utterly demolish you, and you already had a one-on-one with Persia, where you lost quite some land. And I would just say, try to get out and kill Punjab. Like, there's not that much you can do, let's be real. So, next nation is Persia, I played it wrong. Overall, I would say he has good manpower, he's Sunni. I really think Persia should go Orthodox or Shia. I think Sunni is a horrible religion. I will repeat this until the day I die. Sunni is a horrible religion in EU4. If you have Shia or Orthodox in the area. Call me a meta slave as much as you want, but that's one hill I'm willing to die on. Income wise, it's pretty low, but that's more or less because Persia is not worth that much. Which is actually surprising me. Let me take a look at the building situation. It's mostly built up. Like, it's kind of odd, I would say. I forgot that the note is losing quite a lot of cash, and it's not getting that much cash in. Like, Persia is in a great defensive situation, bit behind on ideas. I don't really know why you're not just taking religious events for the ideas for the event for 1+1 step. Which is always something that you should do. Otherwise, looking decent. Like, these areas are next to untappable. Like, perhaps they have these 10. Like, and still they have the Gulf Coast state and the Faristan state once they are prosperous. But well, it's not like there's a big difference. Nation is in an okay spot. I think it has a horrible diplomatic situation and kind of bamboozled by the fact that Mamluks were protected, but well, is what it is. I'm not the GM. And it's allied to Russia. He did Russia and allied it, so Mavar can have a one-on-one that Mavar lost. Like, for whatever reason, they was actually allowed to have such a dumb one-on-one war. Like, the hell knows. But it is what it is, I guess. Mamluks are dead, so I'm not going to talk about them. But our next tag is Russia. Ekaterina Rurikovic. Bit behind on ideas, trade ideas will bump up the power work by quite a lot. Ahead in tech, 440 income is okay. It's currently in a war with the protected Mamelukes. I guess I will take the Crimea area. Like, the nation is looking decent. Like, it's not strong, it's okay. Like, it could still have developed quite a lot. Like, this area here is easy dev. Like, you can still do plenty of cycles. Even though it's a bit too late for that. Like, I know that there were a lot of wars, so that's also like a factor. But you can still improve the nation by quite a lot. And like, Russian ideas are scaling really, really well. You're allied to Prussia. You're allied to like Prussia, Malaya, and Persia. That's a thing that I recognized overall. Is the alliance situation overall in most parts of the world. Some of the most. Songhai is actually the other chat for not being allied to anyone. But the other nation is looking okay, like good or good. Like, you can still build plenty of good buildings. It's overall a kind of odd situation, I guess. Even though I would have expected it to be a bit stronger by now. I think the Crownland debate is that in my opinion, think that 100% your own land is suboptimal and should never be the aim. I actually think that 30% is the aim. It should always be the aim, considering you get increased levies and stuff of that. Like, you're getting so much stuff for literally free. Like overall, the new estates rework is not a dog shit. Don't get me wrong. It is pretty much it for Russia. So overall, a smaller podcast today. Year 246. It's Orthodox. Got rid of the government type. Is going for the best. I unironically think that Patriarchate may be the best government type in the game by now. Why the hell are you on a Diplo focus to finish trade years, I guess, but agony. Like, you're in a good spot. Like, you probably need to war with Hanover at one top point. You're allied to Russia. You're like in a puppet situation probably, but still strong enough on your own. Why do you like the force limit simply? But what are you going to do? Like, you're Sweden into Prussia. Like, your nation will always be strong at one point. But you like absolutism. Your state management is not that well done. But, well, it's new for us all. Let's take a look at Hanover. Like, Hanover currently in a bankruptcy war. Currently losing. France losing. Which was formerly Florence. Let's not start my talk about how retarded colonial nations are. Also going for Patriarch, a yeah, like I think the way to play is you go clerical state, and then later on, I will show you go that, and then you go switch and make open public elections, which allows you to get this thing. So you have fear, of course, with militarists. Like militarists are actually really good, and then you're like in the top spot. German formation is not that far away. Like overall, the nation is in a good state as well, but like the lack of expansion overall now is a problematic. Like the Netherlands are independent again. Like they're your vassals, so they have to be integrated. The Dalmatia got way too big. But it is what it is. Like you're in a scenario where you will always lose to the colonial nations. I'm not going to talk about how much bullshit it is, but opinion on that forum is not something I want to discuss here because everyone knows it anyways by now. Dalmatia is actually looking like the strongest country that I've seen so far. Of course, it's lacking on that department. Once religious ideas are finished, they're actually really, really strong. Like Dalmatian ideas are good at one point. Like at this point, you're Dalmatia. You pretty much finished this. Like, why are you not simply clicking from Croatia? Which literally does not change a single goddamn thing. Besides your color. And you unlock a new mission tree. Which, first of all, gives you this one. This entire tree. You get a permanent 2.5% death cost reduction. You get a massive buff to Zagreb. You get Reconquest of Dalmatia, which is literally on demand prestige. You get a Bosnia modifier. Then you get this one, which is also kinda good. You get this one, which is also pretty good. Then you get this one, which is also pretty good. Then you get this one, which is also pretty good. Like, not farming Croatia at the current moment, it's just hinting. Like, trolling. Then you should aim for Italy formation and use all the Italy modifiers. Otherwise, the nation is looking good. Not much to say. Certainly one of the better nations in that place, can still do some stuff to improve. But overall, I think it's looking pretty good. Like, it expanded like a madman. Most of all the dabbing is also very, very well. I think it's too late to convert to Ruthenian, but it is what it is. So yeah, take France. France in a bankruptcy war. France will probably die. Even though it's getting a bit of help from allies or vassals right now. Fuck New World nations. Remove the New World. The game's literally in a better place. You're in the golden era, like, you're doing alright. Like, how the like, what the fuck is this? You don't understand why you're not putting reforms. Well, that's up to you, I guess. Building wise, you should be fully built considering Chambéry. You were in a good spot. Of course, you're in a bankruptcy war right now that you're totally not going to win because colonial nations are utter bullshit when they're player controlled. Good to do some restructuring regarding trade, I guess. That's not something majorly different. Yeah, last thing I'm going to take a look at is second last is Shanghai. I'm not going to take a look at New World Nations. Fuck New World Nations. Shanghai is looking pretty good. Like, has not done something on the world stage for quite some time, I guess. Is in a good spot. Has developed. I think it's the first actual alive sub-Saharan African nation that is actually relevant and not a pushover I have seen in quite a long time. I would actually say in years. I'm impressed by it. I just think that even though Shanghai is in a way better spot than it used to be, I still think it has the problems. Like it has to form Spain around Andalusia to be a game-winning threat. But the player decided against it, just perfectly fine. And he already got some land in Morocco, but overall, he will. I think he's strong enough to do something, but if I were him, I would probably try to beat up Spain or the Mamelukes. But you're not going to beat up a player who has so many fucking colonial nations. It's so utterly retarded. It's dumb. Dude, Spain is by far the strongest nation in the world. We do not even have to debate this, simply due to the amount of the players he has. His nation itself is not that strong. It still has to take trade ideas, it still has to take religious ideas, it still has to take exploration ideas. But no one gives a fuck because this nation is way too strong. It has a good army, still not using one merchant for agony, like it's retreating. But it will easily win this war. You can easily carve up the corpse of Great Britain for fucking free. And then you have like you have Brazil, which is in a really good spot. Like these nations are not pushovers. They are certainly way weaker than they could be, but they are still deft. Like this is the thing. Like we gave them a massive modifier against it, and they are still strong enough. They're still way too strong. I really despise this. Like I cannot even actually be reasonable when it comes to that. Like I just hate it. They will win the war, and after they win the war, they can pretty much just take whatever they want. If absolutism would be a bit better played, I think the nation would be in a great spot. Like, you can just click political absolutism at this point. Absolutism goes up again, and then just pull some stuff to improve this. And it's in a really good spot. Like, that's pretty much it for the podcast. I'm sorry that it's that short, but like, what is there to say? Like, I think Spain is by far the strongest country in the world. Then you have other strong countries like Nepal, Dalmatia, and Russia, and Somalia also pretty good. But I actually really think it's kind of odd. I have not seen a top nation. I would not even call Dalmatia a top nation, even Spain. They're all good nations, but not a top nation in this game, which is kind of odd. Yeah, thank you and see you next week. Skate on.